Puthali. The necklace. Born into immense wealth, twin brothers Babu and Shekhar took vastly different paths. Babu proved a responsible son, while Shekhar, a spoiled brat, depleted his portion of the inheritance and now seeks to claim the rest. Hoping to lose Shekhar, Babu moved to a distant city. Undeterred, Shekhar and his friend Basi followed him. While traveling, Shekhar encountered Nalini and successfully won her heart. They made a promise to meet again. Nalini's father, Kurup, operates as a tea merchant, maintaining a trade relationship with Mangalath Madhava Menon, from whose estate he purchases tea for resale. Kurup approached Madhava Menon for a credit arrangement regarding his tea purchase, and Madhava Menon authorized the transaction. Saroja is Madhava Menon's daughter, cared for by his sister following her mother's death. Saroja elected to visit the beach one day, wearing the precious necklace that had belonged to her mother. Underhandedly, Basi snatched Saroja's necklace. Fortunately, Babu saw the crime unfold. He gave chase, a fierce fight ensued, and Babu ultimately recovered the stolen necklace, forcing Basi to escape. After Basi relayed the news of the necklace theft and Babu's intervention, Shekhar deliberately punctured Saroja's car tire. Babu discovered Saroja and Meena desperately searching for something. They, in their distress, wrongly identified Babu as the culprit and ran in fear. Babu, realizing their mistake, followed them and returned the missing necklace. Vendran, Saroja's driver, discovered the punctured tire and tried to replace it. As the evening wore on, Saroja and Meena decided to walk to the bus stop to avoid further delay. Growing concern for Saroja's whereabouts led to widespread panic at home, prompting manager Panikkar to begin a search. Shekhar and Basi, their eyes set on the necklace, stealthily followed Saroja and Meena, plotting another theft. Just then, a car approached, and they quickly hid. The approaching car was driven by Babu. He inquired if they needed a lift. Initially, they were cautious, but with the encroaching darkness, they gratefully accepted his offer. As they traveled, they shared light conversation and started to learn about each other. As they continued their journey, Panikkar saw them in the car and, fearing Saroja was in danger, assumed Babu was a fraud. After Saroja explained the situation, Panikkar also got into the car. The journey ended at Saroja's doorstep, but Babu, with a polite refusal, explained that he was unable to join them inside due to prior obligations. As Nalini, Kurup's daughter, made her way out of the house into the night, Kurup raised his concerns. His wife, however, interceded, and Nalini was permitted to leave. Upon arriving at Shekhar's location, Nalini was met with tales of his vast fortune. He spoke of a grand mansion and a large contingent of housekeepers awaiting him at his ancestral home. Shekhar tasked Basi with finding out Babu's address. Babu has taken up residence in a lodge and is currently employed at a local company. The familiar setting of the beach became the backdrop for another meeting between Babu and Saroja, their bond strengthening with each passing moment. With the expectation of a taxi, Nalini saw a car approaching, driven by Babu returning from the beach. Thinking it was Shekhar, she stopped the vehicle and entered. At first, Babu was taken aback, but quickly understood Nalini's mistaken identity. He drove her to the park as instructed and departed as soon as she exited the vehicle. In the park, Shekhar awaited Nalini's arrival. Once she was there, he began to detail the story of his brother, Babu. Back at his residence, Babu told Soman, his helper, to urgently check if Shekhar was in the city. Shekhar and Basi kept a watchful eye on Saroja. Shekhar then devised a plan to steal the necklace, impersonating his brother, Babu. Just in time, Babu appeared at the beach, and Shekhar made a hasty escape. After nightfall, Babu tracked down Shekhar. He took him to his room and began to interrogate him about his presence in the city. After a tense argument, Shekhar finally agreed to leave the city and turn his life around. Babu handed him some money, and Shekhar stated he would be on the next train heading home. Contrary to his words, Shekhar was manipulating Babu. He had no plans to depart from the city. Madhava Menon made arrangements for Saroja's marriage, but she vehemently opposed the idea. Under persistent pressure, she finally admitted that she was in love with Babu. Madhava Menon decided to look into Babu's character and circumstances. He then devised a strategy to bring Babu to his home as a guest. With the impression that Shekhar was a rich businessman still firmly in her mind, Nalini asked him to come and meet her parents. To show her husband, Nalini's mother produced a photo of Shekhar and Nalini posing together. With a complete dossier on Babu in hand, Madhava Menon and his family convened to discuss the plans for the wedding. By chance, Madhava Menon came across a letter penned by Babu and used it to playfully tease Saroja. Madhava Menon went to Babu's office to inquire about him, but Babu was not there. He did, however, receive positive feedback regarding Babu's exemplary habits. Madhava Menon proceeded to Babu's room, but once again, Babu was nowhere to be found. Returning home, Panicker spotted Shekhar in a bar and, believing it to be Babu, brought Madhava Menon along. They discovered Shekhar drinking with Nalini and their friends. The events at the bar led Madhava Menon to believe that Babu was a man of questionable character. Upon arriving home, he took swift action, terminating all the arrangements for Saroja's wedding. While at his office, Madhava Menon was informed by the manager that Kurup had failed to settle his financial obligation. When Babu arrived at Saroja's residence, Madhava Menon offered him no welcome and showed no inclination to speak. He stated that Saroja was not at home, leaving Babu thoroughly confused as he departed. Madhava Menon traveled to Kurup's home to address the matter of the unpaid debt. Kurup pleaded for more time to provide the funds. Kurup revealed that Nalini's wedding was set. At that moment, Madhava Menon's eyes fell upon a photo of Shekhar and Nalini hanging prominently on the wall. In response to Madhava Menon's question, Kurup clarified that the man in the photograph, Shekhar, was Nalini's intended husband. Madhava Menon, who had assumed it was Babu, was visibly shocked by this revelation. Following Madhava Menon's departure, Kurup's wife took down the photograph, worried that envious individuals might attempt to interfere with Shekhar and Nalini's wedding plans. Upon his return, Madhava Menon conveyed to Saroja his firm decision that she was no longer to go to the beach, and he expressed his absolute disapproval of her meeting with Babu again. Madhava Menon presented Saroja with the claim that Babu was a charlatan and was in the process of marrying Kurup's daughter, Nalini. Saroja rejected this assertion, stating her unwavering belief in Babu's integrity. Madhava Menon summoned Vendran and ordered him to immediately take Saroja to Kurup's house and show her the picture on the wall. Saroja and Vendran reached Kurup's home, but to their dismay, the photo was missing. Kurup's wife insisted that no such photo was ever displayed. They left, frustrated. Nalini conveyed to her mother her strong desire for a necklace that was a perfect replica of Saroja's. Madhava Menon and his sister were actively engaged in searching for a suitable groom for Saroja when Panicker arrived with the news that he had recently seen Babu at a gambling house. Saroja arrived back at the house and conveyed to Madhava Menon that their search for the specified photograph had been unsuccessful. Vendran validated her report. Fueled by anger, Madhava Menon set out to locate Babu and bring him back home to make him confess the truth. Nalini came to Shekhar and requested that he sell her necklace and use the proceeds to acquire a new one that was a perfect replica of Saroja's. Observing Shekhar engaged in gambling, Madhava Menon devised a plan. He asked Panicker to convey a message to Shekhar that Madhava Menon was outside, waiting to have a conversation. Since Shekhar didn't know Madhava Menon, he yelled at Panicker and chased him away. Madhava Menon overheard everything. Stung by the insult, he arrived home and ordered Saroja to stay away from Babu. Saroja's defense of Babu ignited his anger, and he erupted, shouting at her. Tears streamed down Saroja's face. He then accused Babu of being interested only in his wealth, stating that Babu didn't truly love her. Observing Saroja's disbelief, he then instructed Panicker to retrieve the photograph of Nalini and her future husband to provide evidence for his claims. Witnessing Saroja's profound distress, Madhava Menon was overcome with sadness as well. Panicker and Vendran made their way to Kurup's home and confronted Kurup's wife with questions regarding the photograph. She maintained that no such image had ever been present. Panicker revealed that they had essentially stolen Saroja's intended groom and given him to Nalini. This accusation ignited a furious response from her. She quickly locked them inside the house and rushed out to summon more people. As Kurup entered his home and unlocked the door, Panicker and Vendran seized the opportunity and located the photo. They attempted to escape with it, but Kurup's wife, displaying considerable determination, halted their flight and reclaimed the photograph. Driven by his daughter's persistent distress and tears, Madhava Menon conceded to her marriage with Babu. He stipulated a crucial condition. He would divest himself of all his assets by donating them to charity, ensuring they received no financial inheritance. If Babu consented to these terms, he would grant his permission for the marriage. Saroja held a firm belief that Babu would readily accept the condition. In stark contrast, Madhava Menon, having observed Shekhar's actions, was convinced that acceptance was impossible. Nalini approached Shekhar and asked him regarding the acquisition of the new necklace. He responded by stating that the necklace was currently being crafted and that she would receive it without delay. Babu, en route for an official engagement, spotted Saroja's car and halted. Saroja quickly explained her father's condition. Babu immediately agreed. However, due to his pressing schedule, he pledged to meet Madhava Menon later that evening. Saker, adopting the guise of Babu, went to a jewelry shop and selected a necklace. He proceeded to give Babu's identifying information and fabricated an excuse about leaving his wallet behind. He proposed to the shopkeeper that he send his servant with him, ensuring that he could deliver the payment for the necklace. The shopkeeper accepted the proposal. After arriving at Babu's lodge, he gave the servant instructions to wait, and then seized the opportunity to make a rapid escape. Upon reaching his residence, Shekhar purposefully dislodged a stone from the necklace, initiating a plan to implicate Babu in a scheme. After an extended period of waiting, the jewelry shop owner's servant presented himself at Babu's room. In a case of mistaken identity, he addressed Babu as Shekhar and asked for the payment. Babu was left in a state of utter confusion, unable to decipher the servant's words. Babu categorically denied having made any purchase of jewelry. The servant, becoming increasingly agitated, announced that he would proceed to file a formal complaint with the police. Nalini was overjoyed to receive the necklace from Shekhar. While Nalini and her mother went inside the room, Shekhar took advantage of the opportunity and stole the money Kurup had stored in the safe. As Nalini rejoined him, Shekhar drew her attention to the fact that a stone had been dislodged from the necklace. Nalini expressed her desire for it to be repaired, and Shekhar graciously agreed, taking the necklace for that purpose. Meanwhile, Babu was being questioned in the police station. In the midst of interrogation, Babu was confronted with the jewelry shop owner's unwavering assertion that he was the individual who had acquired the necklace. When Kurup reached his residence, Nalini proudly tells him about the necklace that Shekhar had presented to her. It was at this point that they made the alarming discovery that the money they had carefully kept in the safe had vanished. With the stolen money in their possession, Shekhar and Basi formulated a plan to leave the city. They intended to conceal themselves within the walls of a dilapidated fort located on a remote mountaintop. During their conversation about their escape, Nalini appeared, seeking Shekhar's aid in lodging a complaint at the police station. Her eyes fell upon the discarded cover that had contained the stolen money, prompting her to interrogate Shekhar. She demanded that he return the purloined funds. Shekhar violently pushed her out of the room. Basi, concerned that she would report them to the police, gave chase. In his attempt to prevent her from raising an alarm, she let out a piercing scream, which drew the attention of onlookers who promptly captured him and handed him over to the police. Madhava Menon paced, his anger mounting as Babu did not appear at the appointed time. Sensing her father's frustration, Saroja took the initiative and, accompanied by Vendran, went to locate Babu. During her journey, she noticed Babu's car and brought it to a halt. She then entered the car, completely unaware that it was Shekhar behind the wheel. The sudden deviation from the expected route caused Saroja to experience a surge of panic, and she became acutely aware that she was not in Babu's company. The vehicle suffered a mechanical failure, bringing them to an abrupt halt. Vendran, who had been diligently following Babu's car, intervened to protect Saroja. Shekhar, however, escalated the situation by producing a revolver and menacing Vendran. He then commandeered Vendran's car and forcibly removed Saroja from the scene. Despite the danger, Vendran cleverly took refuge within the confines of the car's trunk. Shekhar and Saroja arrived at the isolated old fort situated on the mountain summit. Vendran, who had been concealed within the car's trunk, discreetly emerged and drove away. He subsequently conveyed to Madhava Menon the mistaken information that Babu had kidnapped Saroja. Madhava Menon, acting with immediate urgency, placed a call to the police station and conveyed to the inspector the false accusation that Babu had kidnapped Saroja. To Madhava Menon's surprise, the inspector revealed that Babu had been in custody for the last 2 hours, implying that someone else was responsible for the kidnapping. Under police interrogation, Basi confessed that Shekhar was the orchestrator of all the problems. Following this admission, the inspector ordered Babu's release and Basi's imprisonment. Shekhar proceeded to tie Saroja up, rendering her helpless, and then relieved her of her necklace. Babu made his way to the old fort on a motorcycle. Upon witnessing Babu climbing the mountainside, Shekhar sought refuge behind a large rock. Shekhar's efforts to impede Babu's approach escalated into a physical confrontation. Simultaneously, Saroja seized the opportunity to escape and stumbled upon Shekhar's revolver, which she then aimed at him, threatening lethal force. Shekhar expressed his remorse and offered an apology. Babu, in an act of compassion, implored Saroja not to take Shekhar's life. Saroja, demonstrating restraint, permitted him to depart. Shekhar gave the appearance of leaving, but in reality, he concealed himself nearby and retrieved a knife, preparing to launch an attack when they came into view. The police arrived unexpectedly at that moment. Shekhar, attempting to evade capture, fled the scene. However, the police pursued him relentlessly and succeeded in arresting him. Upon arriving at the fort, Madhava Menon was met by the sight of Saroja and Babu. Babu, having retrieved Saroja's necklace, presented it to her. The Kurup family was immersed in sorrow, contemplating the series of difficult events they had experienced. The movie ends.